in, buy the exact same PC, and I have asked them to make sure that the parts are same, like 3700X, RX 5700 XT and Gigabyte's X570 Aorus Elite motherboard. All the parts are same, which I have used for this particular Hackintosh or Ryzen Tosh PC. That will be linked in the description box below. If you are someone who is watching this video from outside India, then the part list will also be present in the description box below. You can buy those parts and build it for your own. Now this is going to be a guide on how to follow a guide. I'll be following the guide step by step and showing you how to do it. I feel like a lot of times people don't read the guide properly, and there are no proper guide following videos on YouTube when it comes to Hackintosh or the OpenCore guide basically. And this one will be a very detailed one, and I am 100% sure that even if you watch this video after 1 year, 6 months, 2 years, you can still watch this video and understand how to follow the guide and make your own Ryzen Tosh successfully, because this is a guide on how to follow a guide. This is not a guide specifically for this system which will work only on this. If you build a PC with Ryzen 3600 and 5600 XT, even after that, this guide will work, because you will understand how to follow the guide and not really what I did for my PC only. So this basically is a very wide guide which can be followed by everyone. Without wasting any time, let's get started with the guide. By the way, if you do not understand my accent, then I can't really do anything. This is how we speak English. But if someone wants to add subtitles or CC this video, the video is open for that. Submit your subtitle CC if you want to work on that. But if you watch the video, it is pretty easy to understand in my opinion, and guide is in English. So if you can read, you should be fine. You can watch this video at 1.25 or 1.5 speed if the video is too slow for you. And read the description box and the pinned comment, because it will have all the important things which I may have missed in this video, or which I did not do right, or some new update which you have to follow. So read the description box if you are going to follow this guide. OpenCore Vanilla Guide is the guide which we are going to follow, which was last updated on March 2, 2020. Today is March 4, 2020. So just 2 days ago, if you are watching this video, let's say after 6 months, 1 year or 2 years, this will be updated like according to your time zone. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to follow a guide. Even if it's updated, you can watch this video first and then follow the guide properly. Do not follow this video and replicate what I am doing in this video. Replicate the guide, which will be linked in the description box below after watching this video. If you get stuck on some things, or if you don't understand some things, then this video is for that particular purpose. I will not be skipping even a single step in this video. It's just that few easy steps will be skipped. Not skipped, it will be fast forwarded. First of all, advantages of OpenCore. I'll read a couple of those. OpenCore systems boot faster than Clover, and all future AMD OS X development is tied to OpenCore. It is future proof basically. Recommended BIOS settings. This is extremely important to do, like highly important. If you do not do this, macOS will not boot at all. But we are going to do this afterwards in later part of this video, once we set up the USB first, because you need to create USB cable, not cable, pen drive basically. Let's go to creating the USB. Requirements: OpenCore package, Apple support package, proper tree or Xcode. If you are doing this on Windows, then you need proper tree. If you are doing it on Mac OS, you need Xcode to edit the .plist file. You'll understand everything in later part of this video. And the guide recommends us to run the debug version to show more info. So what we'll do is we'll go to OpenCore package. As you can see, OpenCore package. Click on this 0.5.6. This is the latest version which was released 2 days ago, literally 2 days ago. And if you're watching this video after some time, then it will be 0.6, 7, 8.5, something like that. Just click over here, come down, and as they recommend us to download the debug version, do that. If the guide says download the release version, do that. If the guide doesn't say anything, download the release version. So we are going to select download debug version. For Apple support package, it does not say anything. So we'll select the release.zip and download that. And for proper tree, oh my god, there is no download button. Do not worry, this is GitHub. If you have never used GitHub, don't worry. Just go to clone or download and select download zip, and it will start downloading. It's such a huge file, 77.8 KB. Oh my god. We'll close everything now because we have already done that. Cleaned NVRAM is required, and basic knowledge, you must remove Clover. So if you have installed Clover earlier in your system, then you need to remove it completely in order to install OpenCore. If you have never installed Hackintosh in your PC, do not worry. This is not something you need to worry about. Now making the installer depending on which OS you are on. So we are going to select Windows users. If you are Mac OS users, select this and you can follow this Mac OS guide basically. In this video, I'll show you how to do it on Windows. So this is the guide. And to follow this guide, you need 4 GB USB stick and Gib Mac OS, at least 4 GB. I will recommend to use at least 8 or 16 GB. I'm going to use a 64 GB pen drive. And make sure this is a USB 3 pen drive, at least USB 3.0 pen drive. USB 2 pen drives will be very slow for this particular process. It will work, but it's just that it will be slow. I'm going to use a very fast Kingston's DT50 pen drive. I'll just attach it to my PC. And as you can see, this is the pen drive which we have attached. And we also need to download Gib Mac OS. So I'll just open it up, clone or download zip. To start, open gibmacos.bat as admin and select extract to Gib Mac OS master. Open it up. Now I'll just open 2 windows here so that it will be easy for us to follow the guide. First of all, it says open gibmacos.bat as admin. Gibmacos.bat is here. Right click, run as administrator. Yes. Toggle recovery only. Toggle recovery only option is present over here. Currently off. So we'll select R. I wrote capital R, small r should be fine as well. I'll just show it to you. Now once that's done, now search through your desired version of macOS. For this example, we are going to choose 5 macOS Catalina. We want to install macOS Catalina as well. So macOS Catalina is over here, which is 10.15.3, and this 10.15.3 number can be different or will probably be different in future. So keep a note of that. I'll select 5 and enter. This will download the package. So as you can see, my download got stuck for some odd reason. This never happened to me actually. What I'll do is I'll press Ctrl C. Okay, so something wrong was going on. So Ctrl C worked totally fine. So failed none, file saved to this particular folder, which will go to enter to return. Okay, now we can close this. Now click on make install, run it as admin as well in the same Gib Mac OS folder. Once this is opened, you need to select your drive with option O for OpenCore. Now these 2 drives are being shown here. I am not sure why my WD 240 GB hard drive is being shown. But Kingston Data Traveler is the one which we need to select because this will be wiped completely. So make sure you select it like correctly. So the number is 4 for Kingston Data Traveler. What we are going to select, and we need use OpenCore instead of Clover. And this is O, not 0. 0 usually has this dash or line between it. O does not have anything. So we are going to write 4 for our disk and O because we want OpenCore. Select yes. Now it is saying please paste the recovery update package to extract. Okay, so we have downloaded it already as I had shown earlier. macOS downloads public release. This is the package. How do you copy it? We need so simply go into copy path. Under home you can go to copy path and paste it here. It will be pasted. As you can see, this is what it is supposed to look like, same as this, and press enter. This may take some time, and do not worry, just sit back, relax, take a cup of tea, coffee, whatever you prefer. I prefer water, so I'll do that. It took only a couple of minutes. Press enter to go back. Once that's done, your pen drive should look something like this. EFI and boot. This should be present here. So we'll close this completely. We'll go to our pen drive, and as you can see, boot F is 196 MB, and inside boot you can see EFI folder and boot folder. Inside EFI you can see boot and OC. Inside OC you should see something as OpenCore EFI, and these are the folders which are present over here. Now with all this done, return to creating the USB to finish up your work, which is present over here. Now it's time to set up the EFI. It says now something you will notice is that it comes with bunch of files, drivers and tools folder, which we don't need. Remove from drivers. You need to remove this. As I showed you guys earlier, under EFI, go into OC, go into drivers, remove from driver, used for OpenCore pickup. Like you can read why we need to remove this. So we need to remove Apple USB, remove it. It says NVMe, this one, remove it. NVMe Express, XHSCI, XHCI, remove this as well. We do not need high database.efi, removed completely. We need to have FW runtime services. Do not delete this, otherwise it won't boot. From tools, remove everything from tools. Oh my god, everything from tools. Boot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3, 4, 5. So remove everything. The guide says everything, remove everything from tools as for this particular guide which I'm following on March 4, 2020. If you're watching this after 6 months, the guide may say that don't remove this particular file from tools, then keep that file in tools. Or it may say don't remove this particular file from drivers, then don't remove that. Follow the guide. As I said earlier, don't follow this video. I'm showing you how I follow the guide basically. Now you can place your necessary firmwares.efi file inside the EFI folder. Okay, as you can see, they have completely filled up ACPI drivers kext folder. We did not do that because that part is present in gathering files. So let's go back. If we come over here, after creating the USB, gathering files is the next part. Now we are going to do the most important part of this particular macOS installation, in my opinion. If you do something wrong, or if you, I mean, this is not scary, don't be scared of this part, but this is most important. Concentrate here. Now gathering files, see the supported hardware section, blah blah blah. You can read this guide. APFS driver loader.efi needed for seeing APFS volume. Is this important? Absolutely. So I'll open it in the new folder, like new tab, not folder. VBox HFS.efi or HFS plus.efi needed for seeing HFS volumes. We are going to select VBox HFS.efi because it says or, not and. You can either select this or this. Let's go with this one. FW runtime services.efi, replacement for this for patching. We already have this under our, if we go into drivers folder, it's already present over here. For legacy users who are using old hardware, you need to download this on legacy system duet package, not recommended and even harmful on UEFI, Ivy Bridge and newer. We don't need to download this. NVMe Express, don't need to download this. XHCI, we don't need to download this as well. HFS, this is generally Sandy Bridge and older, we don't need to download this as well. So these were the EFI files which we need to download. I'll just download it. So this was updated 2 days ago, and this, now let's populate our EFI folder. APFS driver loader.efi, opened up this, which is, oh my god, Apple support debug.zip. Have we already downloaded it? We have. So open the folder once again, Apple support release package, extract it to Apple support. Once that's done, go to drivers. You will find all the important drivers such as APFS driver loader.efi. Move it over here. I hope you are following it. We downloaded it. We need to download VBox HFS.efi, which is present over here. VBox. Firmware drivers are all done. We have downloaded all these 3 files which are present over here. If we go back, then you can see OC folder under drivers. It has all these files. It has extra USB KBDXE or other files because Apple USB, it is required used for OpenCore Picker legacy systems running duet package. We are not doing that. We are running Ryzen. So we do not need to worry about this. These 3 drivers are more than enough. Now let's close this. Let's close this as well. Now let's download kext files, which we will populate in the kext folder. So open kext folder. It is empty right now. Now must-haves, virtual SMC is must, Lilu is must. Let's download these. Select release.zip and select Lilu. Release zip once again. Extract Lilu. Let's extract virtual SMC as well. Under virtual SMC folder, you will find kext folder and all these files basically. So virtual SMC.kext is must, literally must. You have to move it. So that's moved. SMC processor.kext, do we need this? It depends. It doesn't work on AMD CPU based systems. We are using Ryzen, so we do not need this. SMC Super IO doesn't work on AMD CPU based systems. We don't need it. Desktops can ignore this SMC light sensor. We do not need it. SMC battery manager, desktops can ignore. This is important for people who are using laptops. Ambient light sensor on laptops used for monitoring fan speed doesn't work on AMD system, so we are going to ignore that. But if you are using laptop, then you need to download these files like kext files and move them in the kext folder. I don't need it, so I'm not going to move it. If you are using laptop, you need to move those files, as easy as that. If we go to the Lilu folder, you have these lilu.kext and lilu.kext.dsym. Do we need this dsym? No. Just copy and paste lilu.kext. Simply drag and drop, that will do the step as well. Now whatever green is required for graphics, so we'll open it up. We'll close these 2 tabs because we already moved them. audio, Apple ALC, we'll select that. Now we need to download the Ethernet Kext. We need to download only one out of these four. How do you decide that? Simply go to the Speccy website, which will be linked in the description, which will not be linked in the description box. We'll just search for Speccy and you will be able to find that. This is not an important step. I mean, showing the download, how to download basically. So simply download it. Double click and set it up. Once that's done, it will show you all the info such as CPU, RAM, which motherboard you're using, which graphics card. We need to go into network, and under network you can see I'm using Intel i211 gigabit network connection. Your motherboard will be different and you need to do it by yourself. Do not copy what I do. Do it according to your motherboard. My motherboard has Intel i211 gigabit network connection, and this one says chipsets that are based off i2-1180 will need the small tree Intel 82576. So this is the Kext which I'll need to download. So I'll open it up. For Ethernet, this is the one I need. If you have Atheros or Realtek NIC, then you need to download this or this, depending on your motherboard basically. Now this one, USB inject all. This does not work on AMD CPU based systems. We are not going to download it. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is not going to work out of the box, even though my motherboard supports Wi-Fi. So I'm going to skip this step completely. AMD's CPU specific Kext and null CPU power management. It says thanks to OpenCore 0.5.5, we have much better solution. So we do not need to download this. This one is for USB fix for AMD FX systems, no effect on Ryzen. So we do not need to download this. Voodoo HDI audio effects Ryzen systems. Support for Ryzen system, do not mix with Apple ALC. But did we open Apple ALC in a new tab? We did. Where is it? Where is it? Apple ALC. As you can see, Apple ALC is present here. So it says do not mix with Apple ALC. So completely ignore it. We do not need it. This one, Apple MCE reporter disabler. So yes, we'll use the Voodoo TSC sync needed for syncing TSC on some Intel's HEDT and server motherboards. Do we have that? No. We have AMD Ryzen processor and X570 motherboard. So we do not need to download this. TSC adjust reset on Skylake X. Do we have Skylake X? No, we have Ryzen 3000 series. NVMe fix used for fixing power management and initialization on non-Apple NVMe requires Mac OS 10.14 or newer. Do we need this or do not? I think we need this because we are going to install, or I am going to install on an NVMe SSD. If you are going to install in normal SATA drive, you do not need this. SSDTs, this is a different part. So all the Kext file that we are going to download, let's download all those files first. And let's extract all of them one by one. Once that's done, it becomes easier. Apple MCE reporter, .kext file. We need to move all the .kext folders directly, and .kext folders has something like contents, and inside it, it has info.plist. Simply move .kext folder over here into the Kext folder of our pen drive. This is our main pen drive on the right side of the screen, and on the left side we have all the files that we are going to move. So we have basically downloaded all the Kext files which are necessary for my motherboard, not your motherboard. Your motherboard may need different things. Your CPU may need different things in the future. So as I showed you how I read through the guide, like Voodoo TS Sync, this is important for Intel's HEDT and server motherboards. If you do not have that, we don't need to download that. So Kext files are done. It's time to drink some water and come back in 2 minutes. After Kext files, it's time to download SSDTs, and you can read this. Now let's go to getting started with ACPI. Over here, getting started. Okay, it asks us to go to another site. So this is what we need to do. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What is this? What is this? Don't worry, just click over here. SSDTs easy way. How to do it? So here we'll be using a super simple tool made by CorpNute. Thanks a lot, CorpNute. SSDT time. We need to download this, and then we need to run SSDT time. Basically, clone or download zip, extract it. Extracting is most important part. SSDT time master. Open it up, and let's go to the site. Over here, it says run SSDT time.bat as admin. Run as admin. Yes. Okay, it will download ISL win. Okay, fast. Okay, done. Now we need to dump our DSDTs. For that, we'll press 4 because we need to dump those, and press enter. Dump successful. Press enter to return to main menu. So select 2 and select enter. So why did we press 2? So basically the guide says, if you read properly, select option 4 and then select the appropriate option for your system. IRQ patching mainly needed for X7999. We do not have this. This is required for Catalina users. So wait, we are going to use Catalina, and this is the asset for Intel only. Do we need to do this? No, we are on AMD system. So that's why we selected number 2. As easy as that. It can be difficult at times to understand the language, but you understood it now after watching this guide. Don't forget that SSDTs need to be added to OpenCore. Reminder that .aml is compiled and .dsl is code. Add only .aml file to EFI, OC, ACPI and config.p. Okay, oh my god, this is so difficult. We'll understand this. We need to download. Okay, let's close this first. Go to results, and these are the files. Just copy it. And where do we need to copy it? EFI OC under ACPI. So let's close it. EFI OC ACPI and paste the file here. .aml file needs to be pasted only. Now config.plist, select ACPI, add. Reminder that command control property point. Do not add your DSDTs, OpenCore or firmware. Oh my god, what is this? What is this? We did not understand this, right? So do not worry. Let's go back to our guide. SSDTs, DSDTs, all that is done. Now we need to create our config.plist file specifically. We'll come back to that part in some time. We will understand config.plist file first. So AMD, we are going to use AMD. If you have Intel and Ivy Bridge as well, whatever you have, you can select that AMD. Let's go with that. And we are on this part now. AMD config.plist, basically the last part and the longest part, which is very easy, frankly speaking. So making a config.plist file, go through, read this. I'm not going to read it. I'll skip to most important part, or basically what you need to do. Proper tree is required. Gen SM BIOS is also required, which we have not downloaded. Sample.plist is required, which is found under the docs folder of release download, which we have done. I'll show that to you. AMD kernel patches needed for booting Mac OS on AMD hardware. Save this for later. We'll go over how to do that later. So later. If it says later, we'll do it later only. Let's move forward. Grab the sample.plist file and rename it to config.plist. Where is the sample.plist file available? Oh my god, don't worry. Just go to downloads. We had downloaded the OpenCore package. Do you remember this? Under docs folder, you will find a sample.plist file. Simply rename it as config.plist file. Where do we move it? I am not sure, and the guide does not say it. Oh my god, how do I do it? Don't worry. Simply go to OpenCore vanilla guide in the beginning, in the creating the USB folder, and this is what it looks like. And config.plist file is present with opencore.efi, which is present under OC. It is present under OC. So let's go into EFI, OC and opencore.efi. We'll paste our config.plist file here. As easy as that. If you mess up anything, follow this, like where you need to move files exactly. Open your config.plist in proper tree. Oh my god, they do not say how to run it. It's very easy actually. So download the proper tree which we had downloaded earlier, extract it. Once that's done, open it up, open proper tree master, select proper tree master. And we are going to run it as administrator, even though it's not really necessary. We'll minimize this file, open, and move to your pen drive, EFI, OC, and config.plist. Select this, and entire config.plist file will be opened here. Now comes interesting part. I'll just make it full screen, like half of the screen. And run the clean snapshot function command, or this will remove all the entries. We need to run snapshot function basically. File, OC snapshot, select that, and we need to select the OC folder only. We are taking snapshot of OC, not under OC. We need to select the OC folder. Once that's done, select folder, and it will populate everything. Now if we come under kernel and add, earlier sample.plist did not have anything. Now it has all the kext files which we had added, like Lilu, kext is here, virtual SMC is here. These two are extremely important. Whatever green for graphics, like forget the technical part. All these .kext files are important and have been moved properly over here. 6 plus 1, 7. If we go into our main folder, kext folder, 3 plus 3, 6, 7, all the files have been selected properly. Now comes very easy part, but a very lengthy part. Let me tell you what the guide is. Add is present over here, add under ACPI, block is present here, block, patch is present here, patch, quirk is present below patch, which is quirk, whatever you pronounce it. Basically, this is how the guide looks like. This blocks certain ACPI. Block, does it have anything? 0, 0. We can ignore this. Patch, this section allows us to dynamically move via OpenCore. For us, our patches are handled by SSDTs. This is much cleaner solution, so we do not need to worry about that. Quirks, now make sure all these are set correctly. I'll show you how to do it with quirk, what we are doing basically, and then you have to do that with the rest of the config.plist file. I'll not explain that because guide will keep on changing in future, and if you follow my video only, once again I'm mentioning this, follow the guide, not this video. If guide says FADT enable reset needs to be enabled after few months, it won't say that, but still if it says that, you need to do that, even though in this video guide it is saying that it should be enabled, it should be disabled, not enabled. No. So I'll select quirk, and this should be false or no. Normalize headers should be false. Rebase regions should be false. Reset HW signal should be false. Reset logo status should be false. No means false. Yes means enable basically. If you want to change the values, double click on it. You can select true. But do we need to select true? No, we need to select false. And you, in order to save it, you can file, save it like after some intervals. It will be good. Like if something happens, no, nothing will happen anyway. Now do the same for every single step. Now let's go to booter. This is how booter should look like. Or if we go into MMIO whitelist, this is over here quirks. Okay, quirks, where are quirks? Okay, let's go over here. Avoid runtime defrag should be true. It is true. This should be no, it is no. So follow the guide accordingly and change the values if necessary. I'll just check and change myself. Now comes one of the most important part for AMD users, kernel patches. We need to patch the kernel, like we need to change the kernel. Basically, we need to change the patches under kernel. For that, Ryzen or Threadripper users should use this. Bulldozer or Jaguar users should use this. We are on Ryzen system, so we are going to use 17H. Download that, extract. Now this is another .plist file. What do we do? Don't worry. Simply go into file, open once again. And now we need to select the downloads folder. Then go into 17H and select this plist file. It will open this up. Now simply copy the patch part of the kernel. Copy. Delete this patch from kernel. Remove patch. Go to kernel and paste it. So kernel patches have been added successfully. Now once that's done, you can simply close this. This is very important. Patches are extremely important. Copy the kernel patch section from patches.plist, paste it where old patches were in config.plist, as we have done successfully. And even if it comes below quirks, it's fine. Do not worry about that. Quirks, do we call it quirks? I'm not really sure. Now let's go to quirks, and this is what we need to do. Apple CPU PM CFG lock. No, set to false, false. The only dummy power management is yes. You need to enable this. This is extremely important. What people do is people do not read the guide and they do not enable this. I'm just showing this one, but there are a few other values as well in the guide which you need to enable or disable or change basically. So go through the guide completely as I'm going right now. I'll go through the guide once again because even though I know what to do and what not to do, I'll do it for the video. So dummy power management, it's selected. Show picker should be turned on because it shows you whether you want to choose Mac OS, Windows 10 or anything else. It should be turned on. And timeout, as you can see timeout, this sets how long OpenCore will wait until it automatically boots to the default selection. Sometimes the automatic selection goes to OpenCore Windows. So we need to make sure that we have enough time to select the proper version. So 5 seconds is the default. I prefer to have 10 seconds. That's my personal choice. If you keep it at 5, totally fine. It will automatically boot after 5 seconds. For me, it will automatically boot after 10 seconds. Let's follow the guide now. Disable watchdog should be enabled. Remember, otherwise you will get errors. I got errors. You should not. Even after doing it twice, I read something new today because I did not read the guide properly earlier. So this is the important part. Allow set default, yes. And allow control plus enter and control plus index to set default boot device in the picker menu. Sometimes randomly the boot picker goes to Windows 10 and not Mac OS. You'll understand this after we boot into it. You can change it by pressing control enter while booting up and it will change the default menu. Basically, my friend and I were not able to understand how to do it. Allow set default should be enabled as yes. And after pressing Ctrl plus enter, you can select the default menu by which it will boot into macOS only directly. Fantastic. Read the guide once again. Important, very important. You won't boot with this if set to secure. So clear it completely. We do not need anything. Boot ARGS is another important point. If you do not understand how to change boot ARGS or anything like that, this is where you need to do it. -V is already present. This enables verbose mode basically. Debug 0x0. This disables Mac OS's watchdog and helps prevent reboot on a kernel panic. That way you can hopefully glean some useful information. So debug 00. Yes, we are going to enable it. So copy it, Ctrl C. Select this, give a space after this and simply paste it. Supported codecs. Oh, okay. You see supported codecs to figure out which layout to use for specific system. So let's go over here. We open this supported codecs file. One is for this layout one. Basically, someone uses layout one. Now we need to select our specific version. Go to your manufacturer's website. For me, it is Gigabyte X570 Aorus Elite. Then go to specifications. Now let's go to audio. It uses Realtek's ALC 1200. Boom. So go over here. Realtek ALC 1200. Where is it? Oh, ALC 1200. So these are the settings that we can use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Meaning ARGS can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 11, 27, 28 or 29. One is also allowed for us. So what we are going to do is we are going to set ALCID is equal to 1 for now. Give a space, press Ctrl V, ALCID is equal to 1. If 1 doesn't work for you, like audio doesn't work for you, which we'll test in the later part of this video, then set it to ALCID is equal to 2. If it doesn't work, try 3, 4, 5, 7, try everything one by one and then it will work for some for one value, it will work without any issues. AMD, Intel and Kepler GPU users should delete this section NVDA_DRV. Oh, where is it? Delete, completely delete. If the guide says delete it, delete it. If the guide in the future says keep it, keep it. And one more important thing, previous language KBD. As the Russian community is very good when it comes to Hackintosh, the default language is set to Russian. American language is this in hex. So let's go to previous language KBD. Change this. Okay, change from this and paste it over here. Now you will get English menu when we boot and not Russian menu. Or one more way is, as the guide says, you can change the type to string and select NUS0, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and this should work as well. You can use any one of them, not both at the same time. Now remember the Gen SM BIOS that we had downloaded earlier, which is required for platform info. So let's open it up. Gen BIOS, let's download it. Extract it as well. And now we need to run it. Gen SM BIOS, let's open it up. Remote version, current PL is this, that. What do we need to do? It's very easy. So press 3 and press enter. It will generate some SM BIOS link. And please type the SM BIOS to generate like iMac 1835. How do we understand this? After pressing 3, It's mentioned in the guide. iMac Pro 1-1,1 is for AMD RX Polaris or newer graphics card. Mac Pro 7-1 is for AMD RX Polaris and newer graphics card. Mac Pro 6-6,1 is for R5, R7, R9 and older. iMac 14,2 is NVIDIA Kepler and newer. So we are going to use iMac Pro 1,1 because we have 5700 XT, which is AMD RX Polaris and newer, not older. So let's select that, Control V, press enter, and this is what it generated. Now we need to copy this into our plist file, and in the guide it says it clearly. Type goes into system product name iMac Pro 1,1. So I'll copy this iMac Pro, replace it, and there are no extra spaces. Serial part gets copied to generic system serial number. Serial part, I'll copy this serial, and it goes to system serial number. Simply follow the guide. Board serial goes to MLB. SMUD part gets copied to system UUID. Paste it. That's it. We have copied and pasted everything successfully. So finally we have completed the config.plist file. We changed all the values necessary, and even after that, if you are having any issues booting up, you can go to AMD OSX Discord server, or you can go to the subreddit as well. They are extremely helpful. I have to give a huge shout out to them. So here we are, everything is done. Now simply go to restart. Start pressing F2 on my keyboard, or you can press delete on your keyboard. It depends on the motherboard. F2 or delete should do it though. So F2, and we are in the BIOS. For some reason we have a very green BIOS. That's fine. Now we need to disable fast boot and compatibility, that is compatibility support mode, which is CSM. So go into boot and you will find the CSM support here. Select it, select disabled. Fast boot should be disabled. Once you disable CSM, fast boot will be disabled automatically. And we need to enable above 4G decoding. Where is that? Okay, it should be present under IO ports. And above 4G decoding is enabled. Oh my god, I'm such a smart guy. Yeah, EHCI, XHCI handoff should be enabled as well. It is enabled over here. OS type should be Windows 10, Windows 8.1, which is there by default. So we do not need to select that anywhere. As you can see, there is no option to select that. Most important, it's CSM should be disabled and fast boot should be disabled as well. Oh no, cancel, save and exit, save and exit setup. Yes, we'll boot into Windows again and we'll see what we need to do. Simply go to restart, boot into BIOS once again. We need to select our Kingston data traveler. We'll select that, and it says invalid vault mode. Okay, oh my god, what should I do? What should I do? I can't do anything. So what I'll do is I'll simply press on the restart button and I'll restart the PC. Now we got an error. So what do we do? Simply go to the troubleshooting section, general troubleshooting, and the error open core booting issues. Yes, this is what we had. Oh, no vault provided. We had something similar, right? It's stuck on no vault provided. So what the solution is, turn the following off in your config.plist. So basically we need to open our config.plist once again. So simply open property, open our config.plist file. And what the guide is saying is it is asking us to change MISC security vault. Okay, let's go to MISC, then go to security and then vault. It should not be empty. I specifically kept this error in this guide so that if you get any error because probably you did not follow the guide or it needs little bit more troubleshooting, then simply come over here on the guide and then scroll down. You will have general troubleshooting options. Search for the error that you are getting, like stuck on this, stuck on that, OC this, OC that. No vault provided for us. So I'll just show you how I am going to solve no vault provided. So vault was supposed to be set to optional. You won't boot with this set to secure. So now let's come back to the guide under the MISC where vault section is present under security, MISC security. If you go to this image, it says vault string then optional. So what we are going to do is select vault string and write optional, and then we are going to save this file. Now let's reboot the system and now let's see if we can boot now or we still need to do some troubleshooting. Let's see. And boom, there you go, we are into the bootcamp menu, not bootcamp menu, the menu where we need to select Mac OS based system external. Yes, this is what we need to select, and we'll select that. So we have a black screen right now and not a green screen. So let's reboot the PC and let's see why we are getting that error. Black screen after picker. This is the error that we are getting. So let's go down. UEFI output provide console. This should be enabled. This is due to missing console GOP. So let's see whether we had done that or not. So we have already enabled it. So what's the issue then? Now I kept another error just to make sure that you know that following the guide is extremely important. This is written under NVRAM and boot ARGS. This command specifically is used for disabling board ID on Navi GPUs RX 5000 series basically. So we have 5700 XT. I have 5700 XT. And without this, you will get a black screen. And that's why we were getting a black screen. Don't use if you don't have Navi. Come to boot ARGS. As I said earlier, spacebar, Control V and enter. That's it. Space. Saving the file is extremely important. Delete, delete, delete and restart. Now we will not get any type of black screen. I showed you guys couple of errors just to make sure that you know following the guide is important, how to troubleshoot them as well. General troubleshooting guide is present over there, which will be linked in the description box below as well. It's very easy. And after that, now we should select our pen drive and boot into macOS successfully this time. No more black screen. Finally, we have a white screen and an Apple logo. As I said, this is the thing that you need to do. Make sure you read everything properly and then you will get over here. Reinstall macOS is something which we need to do. Let's go to continue. This is the only drive that it is showing right now because I had installed macOS earlier on this particular drive. But let's assume I want to install in this drive. You will get this error called as the disk is locked. This disk does not have GUID. It's not present in the guide, but I'll show you how to do it. It's very easy. I'm pretty much sure that they thought it was very basic. Just go into disk utility, select continue. You will be able to see all your drives. Now go over here, select show all devices and not volumes. It will show you all the drives, 970 Evo Plus, WDC, these are external drives. It is detecting my 860 QO 1 TB as external. Anyway, forget it. These are the two drives. My Windows 10 is installed on this 970 Evo Plus and WDC is the drive which I'm going to use. This is an NVMe SSD basically. Now you will need to wipe this completely. How do you do it? Simply right click, select erase, select macOS extended journal, select GUID. I'm going to select this as hack Mac. GUID partition map, select erase. Make sure you select the proper SSD, otherwise you'll end up wiping the wrong one. Show details, unmounting disk, creating the partition map, everything, blah, blah, blah. Everything is done. Select done, go back. And now that particular SSD that you wanted to install it in will be shown over here. So let's continue. HackMac will be installed. It will take about 20 to 25 minutes depending on your internet connection. I have 50 Mbps connection, so it is taking so much time. I have fast forwarded this entire part because it will be boring otherwise. So yeah. Once you are in the BIOS menu, simply go to the last menu, save and exit, and over here you can select boot override. We are going to select our pen drive once again, or USB stick basically, and then go from there. So finally we have successfully booted into macOS. I had to do reboot couple of times, like force reboot, because the installation was getting stuck for some random reason. If it gets stuck for you, there are solutions on general troubleshooting, but the type of the issue that I had was not listed there, and that's not really an issue. I just rebooted and everything was fixed. Once you see this screen, now you have installed it and you will be able to see that in your boot menu. I'll just set it up. This is very easy. I'm not going to show you how to set it up. Do you want to use our new volume 1 TB to backup time machine? I'm going to select not use. This computer was restarted because of a problem, I know, because we had restarted because it was not going forward. You're supposed to press this key, then this key. Done. Okay, so we are into macOS as you can see, but it's not moving. How do we do that? Go into system preferences, go into dock, select magnification, and this is how you get the effect. Very easy. Couple of other things that you will need to do. Go into mouse, select scroll direction, deselect this natural, then you will be like default one how we use mouse in normal Windows. That's pretty much it. As you can see, my iCloud is set up. I can text someone on iMessage as well. Now we need to download Clover Configurator. The link will be present in the description box below. Once you download it, we are going to install it because we need to move the EFI folder to the boot partition, not boot partition, boot drive basically, so that we'll be able to boot directly into the drive without using pen drive. So it's completed. In macOS, there is too much security, literally too much at times. It can't be opened. For that, go into system preferences, click OK here, security and privacy, open anyway, open, and now you will be able to install or you will be able to use Clover Configurator. Now go to mount EFI. No name, which is Samsung NVMe SSD, which we do not want to do anything to because this is our Windows 10 drive, and this WDC, this is the drive which we want to move our EFI folder to. So select mount partition, enter your password. Once that's done, select open partition, and there will be nothing over here. So now go to boot, which is our pen drive, which will be present over here, and move the EFI folder over here. After that's done, select unmount partition, and we are done, good to go. There is another way to mount EFI without using Clover Configurator, which is described in the guide. This is the page. I mean, you know where this is in the post install section. You can follow that and then move the EFI folder. It will still work. Let's reboot this Mac. I'm going to remove the pen drive now. I have removed the pen drive. As you can see, disk not ejected properly. I took it out completely. Let's go to restart, and let's see whether we can boot into macOS directly or not. So by default it is booting into Windows 10. If you want to boot into macOS only, and if you want to set it as your default boot drive, then go into BIOS once again, go into boot, select boot option 1 and select WDC, or for me it is WDC, for you it will be a different drive. Select that, and that's pretty much it. We have selected the default drive as macOS drive, and if we select save and exit, it will boot into macOS directly. And not just that, now it will give us option whether to go into bootcamp Windows or whether to go into HackMac, or you want to go into recovery or something like that. Now by default HackMac is the selected option. Bootcamp Windows allows you to boot into Windows directly, but this is not recommended. I mean, if you use only HackMac, or not HackMac, Hackintosh only, then Bootcamp Windows is good to use. But that Bootcamp Windows will not be full-fledged Windows. It will be how Bootcamp performs, basically, like similar to Bootcamp. And unfortunately, if by default number 1 is selected for you, then simply press Ctrl and Enter. And if we boot into Bootcamp Windows, as you can see, it booted into the same Windows which we had earlier, but this is not full-fledged Windows. So remember this, do not use this Windows. If you want to use Windows 10, boot by using the NVMe drive or the drive where you have installed Windows 10. And now when we reboot our system, it will start booting into macOS directly, as you can see. So we have successfully booted here, nothing to show right now. Now the audio is working super fine. I can reduce the volume, increase the volume, and it works. No issues whatsoever. So graphics card is working, graphics card is detected, audio is detected, iMessage is working, App Store is working. I'm installing Xcode right now so that how you will know how to edit config.plist file from here itself. If you want to change few things, then you can do that with Xcode. Simply use the pen drive which had the config.plist file already. attach it to your Mac, then it should come up at any time. Then going to boot, then going to EFI, OC, then double click on config.plist file. You will be able to open it up. Now search for anything that you want to change. Let's assume we want to change timeout, which we had set to 10 seconds earlier. We want to change it to 5 now. Let's do that. Then go to file, go to save, and it will be saved. Now simply is on a volume that does not support permanent version storage. You will not be able to access older version of this document once you close it. I am okay with that. Now config.plist timeout has been changed. We'll just verify that once. And as you can see, timeout is set to 5 now. Now simply mount your partition, the main partition drive from Clover configurator. Select open partition. This is the EFI partition. This is our pen drive. This is pen drive. This is EFI partition, config.plist. I'll simply move it here and I'll select replace. This file will be replaced. Now in our EFI folder, we'll have this. And if I search for timeout now, the timeout will be set to 5. This is how you can edit your config.plist from your pen drive or USB stick and then move that file to the EFI folder or the primary boot drive. By the way, remember, if you add kext files or firmwares or .efi files, then you will have to take OC snapshot as well. If you don't do that, then it won't work properly or it won't be detected basically. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of points which are very important in my opinion but are not really present but they are present but not directly present. First of all, if you do not want that information while booting up and you want the fancy Apple logo, then it's very easy. Open up your pen drive, go to EFI, go to OC, select config.plist file, search for ARGS, which is boot ARGS, which I had told you guys that it's important. Boot ARGS, double click here, select -V and remove it completely. That's it. Okay, unlock. Could not be unlocked. Unlock. Simply go to file, save. That file will be saved. If you get any error that config.plist file cannot be unlocked, then don't worry, simply remove the pen drive, attach it once again and it should be reloaded, like it should be loaded properly. Select this config.plist file, remove it. Simply, that's pretty much it. Now you will not get that debug information. I'll just show it to you once again, and after that we'll install the update and I'll show you that updates also work because OpenCore is extremely stable. That's why we have installed OpenCore and that's why this guide is 1 hour long or 1 hour 30 minutes. I'm not sure how long this guide is, but I'm shooting for almost 4 hours now. Fancy Apple logo. There is some issue with my boot up screen or BIOS or something like that. That's why we are not getting black and white screen. Otherwise it would have been black in the background and white Apple logo. It will be fixed probably after I remove it from the capture card. And now updates are available over here. About this Mac, software update. Updates are available. So let's click on update now and let's see whether it works or not. So we just updated our Mac OS and it worked totally fine. No issues whatsoever. Now let's talk about how to use Mac OS as the secondary drive and use Windows 10 as the default drive. If you are someone who uses Windows 10 only and is planning to use Mac OS only at random times or only on weekends or something like that. It's very easy. Simply go into BIOS, go to boot, then select boot option 1. Select the SSD where you have installed Windows 10. For me, it's Windows Boot Manager 970 Evo Plus. I'll select that. I'll select save and exit setup. That's it. Now it will by default boot into Windows unless until I go into the boot menu by pressing F12 and select macOS. That's it for this guide. A very long guide. Sorry, very long guide. Bhai maro. If you are someone who is experienced with Hackintosh or Ryzen Tosh basically, and you think users who are going to follow this should know something like let's say graphical menu when it comes to booting or some other thing, then do let me know about that in the comment section box below. I'll be more than happy to add that in the description box or the pinned comment. And I guess that's pretty much it for this particular video. It took me 4 to 5 hours to get everything working on the system because I was shooting at the same time as well. But if you follow the guide properly, you should be able to get it working in the first attempt. A huge thanks to the Discord community, which will be linked in the description box below. If you have any queries which I did not answer in this video, you can go to their Discord server and ask your query there and you will get all the answers basically. And if you enjoyed this guide, don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up. If you still have any questions, do let me know about that in the comment section box below. I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer all the questions, but I'll definitely try my best. And if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you will get notified next time I upload an awesome video like this one. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for watching.